Welcome back to Rudomotive and, another Rud Rod episode. And my ADHD flaring up. So this is going to be interesting. What are we doing? We're testing my four-link. But, not entirely testing. I'm just making sure that there are no hard spots, no collisions. Now, with that being said, of course, you can go up and collide with this, and you can collide with the ground, yes. But I want to make sure that during the range of movement, nothing locks up. Now, hopefully my tack welds are strong enough, or, I'll be coming back here to figure that out. Not a huge fan of tacking to the axle, so that leaves something to be desired. It's my bad. But I'm hoping that, I'm not actually going to collide up here, because if this is too close, then I'm going to have to notch this out, which is something else I'm going to find out in this video. So what am I doing, right? I'm going to take my bright-ass green jack, roll her over here. I'm going to lift this off of this jack stand. And I'm going to go all the way up to the frame rail, and I'm going to go down as low as I can. And I'm going to make sure she doesn't get sticky or lock up. And then I'm going to put it back on this jack stand. I'm going to do the same over there. In fact, actually where I'm sitting, I might actually be able to take that front one off, but I don't know. And then I'm thinking about putting it under the center as well and just going up and down and seeing how that goes, right? So that's what I'm going to do next. We're going to make sure there's no collisions. And then if there are not, I need to take it apart, pull this off, finish weld it, get it back in place, weld it to the frame, finish weld that. These guys are going to need finish welding. Oop, that's not a very good angle. These guys are going to need finish welding. This side, that side, inside, outside. And then these guys will also need finish welding. Hopefully it all looks decent. Now the nice thing is, like, this bracket itself to itself is all finish welded. Same with this one. This one not the case. So it's not going to be too bad. It'll be a lot of welding and finishing up. But for right now, let's test out the movement on this thing. Let's see how terrible of a designer I am. Yeah. Figured I'd check in real quick after that. I don't know how good the viewing angle was, but yeah, good enough. I'm happy with it. I'm sure once it's on the road, I'm going to have to dial it in. The nice thing is you've got one that's left hand and right hand, right? So I can just adjust these, and I can, align everything up that way to make sure I'm not driving wonky. But as is for clearances, these did not even collide with the frame, so that's nice. With this drop, this all the way up, there was plenty of room. With the whole thing straight up, I had plenty of clearance on both sides. She looks good. It was smooth motion. There was no roughness at all, right? There was no stopping points. There were no kind of clicky moments, as in like a kind of a There was just a smooth up, down, up, down. And I took the center and rammed it all the way up. I don't think I recorded that part, but I got it all the way up, and that was fine. At one point in the testing, you probably see this did move. I've only got it clamped in, but I'm happy with it. So now for the hard work. Not the hard work, but the welding. And, I could use all the practice I can get, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I am not doing that tonight, but I will do it tomorrow. So what you'll see next is me pulling shit apart to weld it. Let's go. Well, I lied a little, kind of. Um, Going through and finding the degree at which those uppers were sitting, uh, kind of sat uneasy. So I went back to the CAD model and looked at things, and well, I found an error. And sadly, I reproduced that error, and there's not an error in the overall assembly, right? So in SolidWorks, I have this bar with these rod ends as a subassembly. So when I open that subassembly and I measure center to center, I get 14 3/4, which cool. That is the measurement I got. I wrote that down. I double checked that a couple times. And I reproduced it out here. And then these are both the same, and all of the movement's perfectly fine. I could leave it like this and not have any issues. That I'm confident of. But it bugs me. Now, when I open up the full assembly, which is the entire truck, and I measure center to center on these brackets, right? And these guys, I'm at 14 1/4, which would explain why I'm over the top and at the back. Which means I could leave it. Right? I could leave it, it would function, but it would bug me because it's not technically correct. Now, to be fair, I'm designing and creating everything, so it's only as correct as I make it in the first place. But I feel like I made it correctly in the model, and I need to reproduce that out here. So what that means is now, instead of starting all my final welds and stuff, I'm going to cut those off, hopefully as cleanly as I possibly can. We'll see how it goes. Clean those up, remeasure those bars, right? So get the correct center to center from 14 3/4 to 14 1/4. Come back out here, and then I'm gonna check them more until I get those uppers in a vertical manner that I want. It happens, right? And that's the whole point of this channel, is to show you that I'm not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect when you start doing the stuff, but you can still do it. You just have to have the confidence to admit you made a mistake and then go fix it. So that is what I'm going to do. And then I'm probably not going to come back talking after I fix that mistake. You're probably just going to see an extended period of work from here on out. But I need to hop in and explain that so that when you see me cutting those uppers, you understand why. Yeah, I'm going to get to work. I'm calling it a night. Not the end of the video, just the end of my night. It's one of those days out in the shop where just dropping everything, anything bad that can happen is kind of just happening. But I'm getting through it. I got a decent amount done, right? I fixed the uppers. I struggle bust getting this where I wanted, but it's now tacked in place. So I officially have a permanent cross member now. The only one. That's it. Just that at the moment. When I do the fuel cell, I'll have two more, and I'm designing one for here, and then I'll have one up in the front. And I might have something up here a little forward, and then of course you have the transmission stuff, but I'm, rambling on. Man, I love the look of this. It's too bad, it's just going to be hidden. Hopefully she rides as cool as she looks. Find out when I get that far. But these are fully welded now. These are tacked. The little triangles are tacked. Those I got to do a decent amount of work so I can blend it into the frame. That'll be my next step tomorrow. Come out here and I'll finish weld the little triangles in the top, and then I'll blend all of that, and then I got little decorative pieces that I'll put on there too and finish that up. And then I still need to pull these back off, finish weld the tubes, and I need to finish weld these and these and those. And at that point, the video will be done. We're getting there, right? It's getting there. And then I'm kind of stuck, sadly, after that until I get the sheet metal for the fuel cell, which I still need to order. But spent $500 on hardware for the front suspension. So I'm going to modify the hairpins. Technically, I can do all of that when those parts come in, but I won't be able to install them. I got to do the new sheet metal for the front bracket as well. But all of that's coming. So I haven't ordered the sheet metal for the back because I kind of wanted to order the front suspension with it. But if I'm going to take too long on that design, I'm just going to have to order it so that I'm not just, sitting here and you guys aren't getting videos and content. But yeah, even though everything that could fail failed tonight, I'm pretty happy with what I accomplished. Now, I did screw up on this side. You see, I didn't record fixing it, but I definitely didn't have the spacer in there when I finish welded that. I thought it was welded enough that it wouldn't be an issue. Definitely was. So then it was too tight to get anything in there. So what I did is I ran a bolt in there, had two nuts on the inside. I forced it open, then just left it open for a little bit. And I just kept doing that until it was enough for my 1, 2, 3 block to fit, right? Because it's 2 inches. So if the 2-inch part goes in there, then we're good. And I got it to that point. So then it fit. And then, as you've seen, the spacers keep falling. I dropped the axle. It was a night. So I'm going to stop rambling. The next thing you'll see is me doing more welding. As you can see, I kind of stopped the footage a little early so I could, as kids say, crash out. Things just weren't going well, and yeah, I need to do a little bit off camera. That being said, things started fitting decently as soon as I turned the camera off, so take that for what it is. But she's done. Not pretty done, but functional done. I left a lot of the welds because a lot of them are starting to look better. Are they perfect? No. Are they great? Not really. But a lot of them are decent enough that, you know, I didn't grind them down yet. Will I grind them down? I haven't decided yet, honestly. Probably not, though. I kind of like the weld look if the welds look decent enough. But, you know, a smooth finish is also real nice. And at the end of the day, you're not going to see any of this because there's going to be a truck bed over it. So the main thing is that it's, you know, functional and that I don't die. And hopefully that is the outcome, that I don't die. These uppers were kind of a pain, but I got welded as much as I could get to, and I'm pretty sure that's enough. Same with the lowers. I got a decent amount tacked where I could. Say tacked. I ran beads, you know, full back, full inside, full as in like the outers, and then I got some of the inside as well. The lowers down here, I got all the way around on the outside, and then I ran beads on the inside as well for both. So those I know are good. Yeah, this is full welded now. I got my fancy little decor on there, which it kind of adds rigidity and kind of places for stress to go when we're pushing, but not really. It's really more of, you know, one of those looks things, kind of like throwing the Isaiah 8:6 or 6:8 in there. You know, it's just, it's not a necessity. It's more of, you know, adding looks to. And again, you know, it's going to be hidden by a truck bed, but I still like it. Another thing you'll probably notice is I had to pull the cab off because, yeah, it just was not working out hitting some of these welds with the cab off. In fact, there's no way I would have finished it with the cab on. And then when I do the hairpins, I need to access under where the cab would be right here anyways. And then I'm also currently designing a cross member, which the cab will need to be off for that as well. So as sad as it is, cab sits over there. I say sad because the cab really is kind of motivation. When I come out here and I see the truck, it looks so good with the cab on. And, you know, without it, it's a chassis. So not necessarily a bad thing, just not as cool because I do really like the cab. Now with that, I'm not sure what the next episode's going to be. Originally, it was going to be the fuel cell, but I might only order the axle brackets and do the hairpin. So the next one might just be setting up the front axle and getting that in place, which that needs done anyway. So then I can get the steering box and figure all that out because I can't really wrap up or can't dial that in without figuring out what the steering box goes. And then of course, you know, that allows me to do the steering column when that's ready. Also, I spent more than I planned on, so I haven't decided. I'll throw it on SendCutSend, get the quotes, and see where I'm happy at, and maybe I'll just order everything. Because cantilever is close to done. I'm getting, I'm probably 30% on the inner structure. I'm trying to figure it out, what is functional, what looks good, what, you know, guides the exhaust through. Which reminds me, I have a question for y'all to leave in the comments. What are your thoughts on the exhaust going under the axle? I know a lot of people hate it, but looking online, I've seen a lot of cars do it. And for me, it is so much easier if I can run it under because I cannot run it over. There's just no room and it'd have to go way too high. So I have to come out and run along here and then that, which I don't like. Or, I could go super loud and blast it out here, but the whole goal of this truck is something that I can take and I can drive, cross country if I want to. That's the goal. So that means loud and right in your ear, because my head would be boom and that would be there, and that doesn't sound fun. So my question is, what are your thoughts on under? And that's where I'm going to leave the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and take a ride with me and my ADHD.